Alright, hi 4th and 5th grade students. So, we are going to be talking about portraiture today, drawing a portrait. So, you just watched a video about a very famous artist. His name was Rembrandt, and he was famous for doing portraits. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to draw a portrait with this lesson. And the idea is we're going to be using proportions of the human head. So proportions are measurements based off of how things look. For example, their relationships to each other, measurements in relationship to each other. For example, things that make a cat look like a cat. On all cats, cats have their eyes in a certain place on their skull. Their heads are a certain size with the width and the length, and that's what makes a cat look like a cat. And so you can apply those same ideas to drawing a human head. And so what we're going to do is we are going to draw a portrait, and then you're going to try yourself. This can be a pencil drawing, or you can go farther and you can use colored pencils if you'd like to make up the entire portrait. I'm just going to keep it a pencil drawing for this lesson. So the first thing you're going to do is we're going to put a line, a sketchy line for our top of our head and the bottom of our chin, okay? And so we're going to fit the head perfectly in between this shape. And so what you're going to do is you're going to make a shape that is basically like an upside down egg in this space. Okay, keep it nice and sketchy. And the general idea is the top is the round, and when you come down to the chin, it becomes more pointy. And so that's the idea. You're going to draw an upside down egg. Okay? Now you're going to take and put a line directly down the center. So depending on if you put it a little bit more this way or this way, as long as you put a line directly down the center of your face, that will help you figure out where things are oriented. Our next step is we're just going to draw the neck in. Okay, we're going to ballpark where that goes. So there's my neck. And, you know, you shouldn't make any really teensy tiny skinny necks. That's not realistic. Necks are actually fairly thick. So don't be afraid to put that in there. It's at this point you can make your face, have your jawbone come in here, and you can make a jaw that's dependent on your face, okay, and who you're drawing. So if it's a wider face person, you might have the jaws that come out. You can adjust that here. But now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to place the main features of the head. So the eyes always go in the center of your head. So if you take your pencil and you find the center in between these two, okay? So in other words, no matter what this is, it should be almost exactly the same distance from the chin that it is from the top to the center. Okay, that's about right. Okay, and that is where your eyes are going to go. So, your eyes are always in the center of your head. I know it seems kind of strange because when you look at somebody else, their hair often makes it seem like their eyes are farther up their head or farther down their head. They're right in the center, okay? And so now what we're going to do is we're going to put our eyes in here, okay? And I always describe them, the basic shape, as a football, okay? Obviously, different eyes have different shapes, but it's a very simplified shape, okay? Now, I drew them to my best ability in the center here, but how do we know if that's moderately accurate? Well, you can use the method of the 5-eye method. Essentially, what you can do is see if you can fit this exact length of shape. Okay, so if I measure here using the side of my eraser and my finger, okay, I'll have 5 eyes from this side to this side. Okay, so if I stop here, that means my eye goes over here a little bit, and it goes over on this side a little bit. That means I need to shrink down the size of my eyes. Okay, I can still keep the football shape, the basic idea of that, but I need to make them smaller. Okay, so I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. And I also, looks like I need to move it a little bit inside also. Okay, and so that's what this is all about. That's what proportions of the head are all about. Moving things around, erasing things, and seeing where they fit better. And so ultimately I think that that fits within this space like that better. Okay, so that's where my eyes will go. All right, so now we're going to move on to our nose. We're going to use these 2 lines, and we're going to go right in the middle of the 2 of them now. And that's where the bottom of our nose will end up. Okay, so no matter how you draw your nose, whether you just draw it like a little line like that, or you put some effort into trying to figure out what the shape of the nose is, adding the nostrils, side of the nose, whatever you figure out, the bottom should be there. All right, so after that, we're going to go ahead and put the ears in. Now the ears are relatively, sometimes they come a little bit above the eye line, but you can basically put them right in between your nose and the eye line, and you'll get a relatively accurate proportion. Okay, just like that. Now, my guy's ears are pretty wide. Probably should fix that if it's a view that's straight on. Most people's ears are not quite that wide. So let me fix that real quick. It's more like a side view of an ear. Like so. Okay, that's better. All right. Now the mouth. The mouth is not directly in the center, okay? So if we find the center here, we'll move up just a little bit. And that's where the line for the mouth should be. Okay, and then you can add right on the center here is where the lips, the center of the lips should be. Okay, so if I do this, just make some quick lips in there, that's where the lips will be. Okay, and so after this, that is how you put things proportionally correct for a person's head. Now, obviously, there are things like hair, eyebrows, all those other things like that that you can now go ahead and add in. And so that is the basics of how to line up your portrait and to put the things in the correct place. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose someone to draw. You can take a picture of a friend, a parent. You can even take a picture of yourself. You can use a mirror to do a self-portrait. That's entirely up to you. But you have to choose a portrait that you're going to do. And so after this, you will add all the other details. So a few details to think about are eyelids. Okay. As far as the eyes go, you always have an eyelid, and then the inside of the eye is always only going to be partially shown because the eyelid is going to cover some of it. There are eyelashes. Okay, and people have various shapes and thicknesses of eyelashes that you can add in. Okay, we talked about the nose. The nostrils are an important detail. Okay, on the lips, you have a top lip and you have a bottom lip. You don't simply just have a little tiny line that is a smile. Well, that doesn't make sense. People don't actually have that. So you have a top lip and you have a bottom lip. On your ears, okay, you have this part of your ear that comes up, and it's a little bit different shaped for everybody. And then you have the side of your ear, okay, and yet again, a little bit different shaped for everybody, but everyone has this little nub that kind of protects the inside of your ear. So for hair, this really depends on boy or girl, but your hairline often will come down here on your face, okay, and it just depends. It's just a little bit different for everybody. Often some people have a very high line of hair, while others have a very not a lot of forehead showing, and it comes down farther. So after that, you're just going to add the details. What's your hair look like? Do you have long hair? Do you have short hair? Is your face thinner or wider? This person that I drew happens to have a pretty wide face. Okay? So, in comparison to most people, they have a wider face. And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. Okay? Like so. Add a little bit of detail to the hair. Okay? And that's it. Oh, I did forget the eyebrows. The eyebrows can come in like so. Okay. All right. So take those tips. I'll have all of the pictures posted that are helpers to help you get your proportions correct for your face, and then you should be good to go after that and help you to add some of these details. Don't forget the dark part of your eye, the pupil, and then the colored part of your eye, the iris. And this often has some kind of lined pattern in it, which makes it look cool and interesting. Okay? All right, students, we're going to stop it right there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and choose your person for your portrait and give it a try. It is not going to be perfect. This takes a lot of practice to get these things correct. But if you follow the instructions and follow the drawing aids that I'll have posted, you should have an easier time putting things in the correct place for your portrait. Obviously, after you have your person's neck drawn, you can go ahead and put some shoulders in. Please don't put any teensy tiny person shoulders in there. You are drawing a human being, not a cartoon, and so you're not going to have teensy tiny shoulders that come out like that and then go down. Make them broad, make them wide, just like a real person. All right, have fun with this, and we'll talk to you soon.